Welcome to a Metabreakers Monday Musing with Phil. This video is made possible by our patrons.
Hello and welcome to a Monday Musing. Boy, it's a long time since I've said that. I mean, literally years and years. Monday Musing went right back to, I don't know, 6 years ago or something like that, at the very start of the channel. So this is aimed at probably a 30-minute show, something like that. I think that's the plan. But if all goes well, I might do some more. I think that's the plan, is to kind of do them every week. Certainly why I am building my strength foot post chemo and radiotherapy. Jack is with me. He's in the middle of a hobby session. We'll be talking about the hobby. I'm really hoping you guys can hear me. I know that's a big part of it right now. That I'm thinking, can you actually hear me? So I'd love to see somebody on the chat to say, is the audio working? No, it's not, says Nick Meredith. Hey up, boys, girls and creatures. Oh no, so I've got somebody saying the audio is not working in the chat.
But if the audio wasn't working, how would they know to say that it's not working?
It's hard to say, isn't it? It's hard to say. According to this, it's working. I can hear you. Right, okay, that's brilliant, fantastic. Audio and video good, says Big Tom. So it's Nick just messing with me. Thank you, Nick, much appreciated. Right, okay, well, I suggest, seeing as though we're aiming for a short show, rather than me waffle on about where I am in terms of recovery and treatment and all the rest, let's do one sentence. Treatment's over, I'm on to recovery. I don't know whether it's beaten the cancer or not, won't know until the end of December. And this show is really about one of those, well, who knows what's happening in life right now? And then Jack looked at me and went, why don't we do a tournament? And I went, well, let's invert the question. Why not do a tournament in 6 weeks' time? And I'm sure there was 100 of really sensible answers to that question.
All of which I chose not to say.
In our euphoria, we can't think of any reason not to do a tournament in 6 weeks. Or about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it is about 6 or 7 weeks.
Let's say it's longer. Let's say it's 3 months.
No, let's say 7 weeks. Let's say 7 weeks. So here we are, learning really fast on what's involved in the tournament. But before we do that, let's get into some hobby news. Quick look at the hobby news at the moment. So Jack, you're alongside me. Remember to shout up because you're miles from the mic. It is now. It's working, says everybody. Okay, it's working. It's working. Thank you very much, all. That's Joe, Stuart, Nick, Family Tribute Studios. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Yeah, what's in the news? A quick look at the news. Well, I mean, let's face it, the Dawnbringer release is just insane. The Cities of Sigmar release is absolutely beautiful and incredible.
All the new Umis.
All the new Umis. Yeah, you recommended that people should have some kind of, you know, those safety signs you get in factories where it says like X amount of days since an accident. That it's probably wise for most of us in this hobby to have X amount of days since last hobby purchase. Yeah. And, you know, just as a reminder of trying to keep it sane.
But it might like work in the reverse where you're like, oh, I haven't bought anything for a couple of days. Might as well treat myself.
I mean, the reality is you're probably going to be pushing a couple of days at any one point, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, Draconith, Ionis Cryptborn, one of the most stunning models. Do we need to talk about this? It's just absolutely beautiful.
And also, one of my favourite like pieces of lore behind a named character in a while.
Yeah, but a very slippery model. I've heard on the grapevine that if you're not careful, you can drop that model, can't you, Jack? But it is an absolutely stunning model.
Yeah, very
nice. Yeah.
Love his dragon. Actually, like a good dragon pose from Games Workshop. What's going on?
Yeah, rather than one wing out.
Yeah, we don't have like the classic Marathi or Krondis where it's like one wing out, one wing in. It's like,
drives
I
you
need
crazy,
wings
doesn't it?
For other projects.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
I mean, that is just straight up like perfect for zombie dragons or stuff like that for Soul Blight. So.
Yeah, I should mention the other big news, of course, is the Christmas box sets have been announced. Anything in there for you?
No.
You know what's in there for me, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I did look at the Soul Blight one. Soul Blight.
You looked at Soul Blight?
But I'm like in the middle of a big goblin army.
Good models. They are good models. The weakness I've got, and it's been an ongoing weakness, is the desire to do Slaves to Darkness at some point.
That's so good.
So spiky. So metal.
So spiky. Lots of metals.
Such a good range of models. I really want to do that. And I would love to see an army that isn't just about Be'lakor and
Be'lakor in Slaves to Darkness? I never.
But I know he's like part of it. But I'd like to build more of a thematic army, and yeah, I know it would play like a dog dinner, but still wouldn't stop me from doing it. And that box set, come Christmas, maybe the thing that pushes me over the edge. I mean, bear in mind I get my news on whether my treatment has worked around about 2 days before Christmas, I think. So we'll see. Either I'll be going insane or I'll be going insane.
And it's not like you've got like a full army to finish.
And it's not like I've got a full army to finish. Speaking of which, then, so I think that's it for the hobby news. There's some incredible releases out. Is there anything else really? Obviously the other hobby news is, we should be talking about what's coming with the Metabreakers tournament, but we'll come to that. In terms of project update, well, you've finally got your hands on. Oh, wait a minute! I think we've got a broken camera.
No.
Yeah, I told you the cameras are broken. So let me just see if I can just fix that. Is that going to work? Hold on a second. Yeah, it's just going to misbehave itself, isn't it? Oh wait, is it because my camera turned off? Probably. Yeah. Okay. It's not going to happen, is it?
What are people saying? Big Ionis Drax. Yeah, Ionis is probably one of my favourite models they've done this year.
Yeah, I get chatting while I do
Very
this.
like him. A bit disappointed that they've redone last year's Xmas boxes. I know. I was kind of expecting something else. I think some of them are new. I don't know whether they're all new. But yeah, I think it would have been nice to see some other armies get love, but you know what they're like. And also, 6 for 40k, 4 for Sigmar. GW, what are you playing at?
Oh, I think I just pulled the cable out.
Just pulled the cable out.
I think so, yeah. Sorry, folks. That could have been me all along. What a fool. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, looks like we're not going to get the desk cam up. That's rather
Soul Blight was 2 years ago. Yeah, well.
Let's just hold it up in front of this camera. We can see. There we go. So this has been the other thing that's been going off. So this is Trugalicious.
Trug.
So Trug's getting is people who knows Jack's army of Trog Riders, which is just Trogs with goblins on top, basically. This is the Trug converted Trug Rider, I suppose, isn't it?
Trug.
Nice little work in progress. It's still got the big stone of joy, but it's been intentionally stuck up there.
His magic stone.
By some crazy gobbos, which I think you've got out of which are the crew coming from?
Zarbag's Gits, I think I'm
Gits
using.
is what that's looking like. So
Because I'm trying to get there. I do like Trug.
you do like Trug. It's a great model. It's a great base. I wish I could show you better imagery, but I can't. In terms of what was going off on my desk, well, I tell you what, I think we can show you. We can probably, if I just kill that and let's see if we can turn that on. Why not? I think somewhere in here, everything's gone wrong. It's what happens, isn't it? Every day. Yep, that's not updating either, so I can't show you that. Why am I even trying? I had it all working about 10 minutes ago, and then you go live, and then it just stops, doesn't it?
You're not allowed anything.
Yeah, you're not allowed to play, you're not allowed to have fun. So yeah.
But who dares ride Trug? That is the question.
No, that's true. Obviously, Zarbag.
Yeah, Zarbag gives it a go.
So yeah, this is my converted Biggie Pig with the side saddle boys, as they're known. So yeah, I wanted to kind of differentiate from the standard build. So the boss has got his big double-headed axe. He's actually holding on one-handed with a chain to both sides, I think. And obviously I almost forget the big horns, but he's got the big horns. And then we have the side saddle dudes riding on the end of some big old horns, basically. So that's what I'm doing with that one. And then, well, the only thing that these things are nearing the chariots. Oh, we found the original model.
We did. We did actually find
so I wanted to build these chariots because I kept saying to Jack, I had this 3rd edition armor, 3rd edition orc boar chariot,
Yeah.
And we've been Googling it, trying to find this 3rd edition Orc Boar Chariot. Couldn't find it anywhere. Single bore, rather than the 2 bores.
Yeah.
Every time I Googled it, it came up with the 2 bore plastic kit.
And I think we figured out why. It's because it's not an orc boar chariot. It was a goblin boar chariot.
No, but that one's the orc.
Is that an orc?
That's actually an orc.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was a goblin. No, I thought it was the
you're
Goblin
thinking about
King.
Grom. You think? Oh, wait. Oh,
it was the
might be. I
Goblin
wonder if
King
I stuck an
on
orc
boar
it.
chariot.
Ah, so maybe I stuck an orc
Yeah.
on it. So I think that might be what's been going off there. But
Yeah, we couldn't find it, and then we actually found. Well, actually, no, we didn't. Mum found it out when she was rummaging through some boxes trying to sort stuff out, and then we're like, "Ah, there it is. That is the OG single bore orc chariot."
so there you go. I mean, you know, in terms of hobby news, I'm just going to jump. There's been so much going off. I mean, if I was just going to jump through some of this stuff, here's one of the things we've been working off: official Metabreakers tokens for the game. Oh, geez, there's so much going off. This was the 360 of the boar chariot that I was just showing you, so that's kind of a nice view. Oh, by the way, I've got the file server working, so you can actually see why we're doing this now. And I've been working on the storage system.
Yeah.
Made a mention of that as well. This is a storage system I designed for armies, so that's a nice, fully complete storage system. And in there
in my new flat.
in your new flat, and that's the Lumineth Realmlords
Yeah.
in its completion. So that's something we've been working on. I had a trip to Warhammer World, and I still drooled over this.
Oh, the OG.
I've got so much of this. I've got at least 2, possibly 3 castles worth of this.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I want to build a table, but it just feels highly impractical for the tournament, for the game, really.
Swear Goblin Chariots had wolves, says Martin DJ. They did, but before you were born, when my dad was playing, it was all a bit different.
I'm going to have to find the model.
Do you want me to go grab it?
I'll put something up on Twitter. Yeah, can do. Why not? Why
I
not?
know where it is.
It's quite a weird thing to look at, and it was the thing that led the inspiration to that unit. So can't believe we found it, and weirdly enough, my wife found it and saved it. I'd accidentally put it in a box full of stuff to go in the bin, and she saw it and thought, "Oh no, I probably want that." So that was how close we came to losing it. I'm just showing you some shots now of the latest project that's going through.
You know what? I don't think it is a goblin.
I think it's an orc.
Yeah, no, it's an orc.
Oh no, it's a goblin. It is a
Are
goblin.
you sure?
Yeah, it's a goblin. That is the Goblin King. It's Grom the Goblin King or something. So.
Ron back in the old days.
So yeah, so that was my inspiration, and I could only barely remember it. So we went from that to crikey. Let's have a look at it. See if we can get the comparison back up again. Was it that one? There's that one, wasn't it?
Is Goblin King's Battle Chariot.
So you can see my inspiration. They're somewhat bigger in size. Oh, I'm going to have to take a photo of them side by side.
Yeah.
Who says there's been any kind of scale creep in this game? That's brilliant. Okay, so I was pretty pleased with that. And then I think, where else are we at? Oh, just hammering at, this is some terrain for one of the terrain boards for the tournament, but we'll come back to that we've been working on and just getting out. And of course, here's a bit of a project update on that one. So where are we at? I think I've actually skipped through both like hobby news and the project updates, and we're probably into the channel update at that. In which case, the most important thing to say about the channel is we've decided to do a Metabreakers tournament, and as I mentioned, that was Jack and I. I don't even know you were at a tournament.
I was at the tournament, yeah.
And I said we should do one of these, and then we were like, "Do you think we could do one before Christmas?"
No, probably.
And that's how it came about.
And we realised how much actually goes into doing a tournament.
Yeah, which is what the second half of this show's about, really. It's about what is Metabreakers, what makes Metabreakers, and the kind of the philosophy behind what we're trying to do, and then how you represent that in a rule pack, and that's what we wanted to kind of discuss. Primarily, this show was an invite to patrons originally, because it was just saying, hey, I want to talk through some stuff with you, and then you can bang some stuff on the chat and see what you think. So what I want to do is lay some stuff out to you guys around what we're trying to do and you know, why it's kind of important to us. So this idea of a Metabreakers tournament, and JP, Jack and I had a meeting today, a very brief meeting about what makes Metabreakers and what do we mean by Metabreakers. And I think on the surface level it's kind of straightforward. You know, Metabreaker list is something that other people aren't taking. It's not the common established most powerful way of taking that faction, and you're showing up and doing something different. I think the important distinction, and this has come out in our debate, is that doesn't mean your list has to be crap.
Yeah.
Because that's the important thing. What we're trying to do is to encourage people to build different lists, and we'll talk about the mechanism that we're doing to do that. But that doesn't mean you have to show up with an army that can't win games. They still have to show up with an army that can win games. But you're also going to be in a tournament surrounded by people who are trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So in theory, you are going there in a relatively safe knowledge that you're not coming up against any other meta lift if everybody's played ball. And we're incentivizing everybody to play ball in the tournament pack. And that's kind of the idea. So this philosophy around we want to do a Metabreakers tournament, and in that tournament you encounter something that, you know, you encounter lists that you've never encountered before, or you encounter lists that are different, or you're coming across stuff that's non-meta. That's the exciting, engaging bit. You're bringing that yourself. There's an opportunity to play against that with something that's different, but it doesn't have to be bad. These can still be competitive games.
I mean, I took what I would call a Metabreakers list to the tournament I just attended, and I went 4-1 with it, with an Ideneth Deepkin list that I would argue was a Metabreakers list.
Yeah.
So you can. It's not about building a army that is Metabreakers, which is just a bad army. It's about understanding.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely went with a list that's extremely uncommon, and you went, what, 4-1?
4-1.
And you fell at the final hurdle.
Fell in the last game against KO Thunderers.
And it was a KO Thunderers list, and
with
Gottrek and stuff like that. So it was a list, you know, we've all seen before. And again, that's okay. That's what that tournament was about. Yeah. But you were also in a tough matchup on the mission as well, weren't you? Yeah. So there was this. It was always an outside chance, but there was an outside chance you could have tweaked 5-0 at that tournament. But you know,
it was an interesting thing. You know, I'm taking Ideneth Deepkin on my list. If anyone was interested, was like the core was 2 units, 20 thralls, 30 reavers, and the turtle and the bringback guys. And, you know, I rock up and I'm like, oh, I'm playing Ideneth Deepkin. Do you know what they do? Yeah, I know what Ideneth Deepkin go. And then I don't put a single eel or shark on the table. And people are like, wait, Ideneth Deepkin have other units? And you go like, yeah, this is my units. And they go, oh, right, okay, this is cool. So it was just like, you know, it's something different. And it still works.
So that's the idea. And the question becomes, how do we represent that in terms of a tournament? I mean, first and foremost, the tournament's a singles tournament on the 16th and 17th of December. It's a 2-day event. I should mention that the tournament primarily exists as a celebration of me getting to the end of my treatment and still alive, essentially. Not to sound over dramatic, but there was a chance I wouldn't. And I feel like, because I've got this like uncertainty before I get any news, we've failed to kind of celebrate, you know, the win, if you know what I mean. And that's really how this conversation came around. It's going to be a 30 to a 34 or 36 man tournament, depending on how many tables we go for. I'm going to start with 30. I honestly don't think we're going to fill the room. I think it's fair to say, because it's the weekend before Christmas. People have plans. There's a bunch of patrons coming down, which is absolutely fantastic. There's a bunch of local players which are absolutely keen for it as well, which is brilliant. There'll be more. Oh, I should mention it's based in Daventry as well, so if you've got an idea of location as well. But at this stage, tournament pack information and ticket sales will be going on via BCP. All of that, our intention is to have that done by the end of this week. So we are really up against it, but we're working like crazy. I'd say the tournament pack is about 80% there. I think so. I mean, realistically, the tournament pack's about 80% there. And then, you know, I've been working with a guy at BCP who's an absolute star chap who's been helping me out. And we're going to just sell the tickets through there. It's not an expensive event. I haven't finalised the ticket price. I can't afford to lose money on the event. I'm aiming for break even, or unintentional profits will go to cancer research. And during the 2-day event, we're going to do something like a raffle or something to raise money for cancer research. I didn't really want to kind of put that into the ticket price. That's something personal to me that I'm trying to do. So we can stick a raffle in or something like that. It's going to be quite prize heavy. And that's because it's a celebration. So I'm unashamed by that. There is the Metabreaker prizes, there's general prizes. In fact, actually, we'll come back to that. But there's quite a few prizes. I mean, there's a good chance if we fill the room, then there's a good chance about 50% of the people in that room are going to get a prize.
Get something.
I think if we ever do this again, and it's like, and I'd love to do it again, I'd love to be in a position to do it again. You know, I aim to grow the tournament, and I think it's got the kind of prize pool you'd expect for a 100-man tournament.
Yeah.
But we're doing it for a 30-man tournament, so you kind of get an idea of what that would be like. So I'm pretty excited by that. And again, it's a celebration. So everybody who's coming to this tournament, to know that we're kind of doing two things. One, we are trying to do something different. We're trying to break the meta, shall we say. And I know that lots of other tournaments do different things, by the way, and there's some fantastic ideas out there, of which we'll probably be stealing. And there's some ideas of our own that we've been working on of how we distinguish this one. But it is neither a soft score dependent tournament, nor is it what I would call a kind of heavily competitive, you know, general tournament. It's a mixture of something, and there's something in there for everybody else. So maybe we should talk a little bit about what we mean by that in terms of the design of the pack. And I think this is the challenge, really. What I wanted to kind of say was, if I bring this up, I think this is a great illustration of what we mean by the way the tournament will work. So first and foremost is there is this thing called, you know, this Metabreakers bonus, the Metabreaker score, essentially.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be points that are awarded to you based on your army selection. So we, as tournament organisers, and, you know, people like JP and Luke and Fabian and stuff are all helping me with this as well. But what we have to define in some way, you know, structurally, what is a list? What is a list that isn't in the meta? Now, we could do that by one or two ways, which was literally to get everybody to submit their list to us, and us arbitrarily decide whether we've seen that list before or whether it's common in the tournament scene by going through BCP and searching and all the rest. And we decided we don't want to do that for two reasons. One, it leaves the people attending the event guessing. Like, I built this list, I think it's unique and different, and I'm trying to do something different with it. But, you know, I don't have 34 hours to go through the entire tournament scene to know whether somebody else is playing this. So I'm going to submit it, and then I get it back and say, sorry, we've seen this everywhere. What are you talking about? And then you're like, oh, great, now I need to build another list. And bear in mind, this tournament's only 6 weeks away, so some people are literally going to be bringing their models they've got. Some people are going to be trying to build a list, but some people may want to add a unit, and they've probably got time to add 1, maybe 2 units, but they'd struggle to add any more. So, you know, we want to be careful how we do that. So what we're doing is we're defining 5 criteria, of which to receive the Metabreaker bonus, you must meet 3 of them. That's where we're kind of at the moment. And the kind of criterias are your list, by faction, your list doesn't include this unit. So there are certain factions that the tournament lists always have that unit in it. Always. Like that. So there's one. Now, if you turn around and sort of said, well, I've only got 2,000 points and I've got that unit. Well, fine. There's 4 other criteria you can try to meet. So, you know, let's go from that. Another one is, so, you know, we may say, your list should exclude this unit. I'm going to be really, really clear here. We're not banning the unit. It is a 1 in 5 chance of receiving a bonus if you don't take the unit. If you have no choice to take the unit because your army is made up of nothing else but that unit, then fine, come up. You're not received the Metabreaker bonus. Can you still win a prize? Yes, we'll talk about that later. So we've got things like, you know, your list shouldn't have this unit in. There's the opposite of that. Your list could have this unit in. So this is where we pick a unit that you never see on the table for a faction. And it's probably because it doesn't perform as well within the meta. But, you know, people sometimes, like you, with the big units of thralls, showed up and made it work. Went 4-1. So we're not picking the rubbishest unit in the book, but we're picking a unit that you don't necessarily see very often. Now, obviously, there's some correlation there, but again, a 1 in 5 option in terms of criteria. There is a couple of other things there. I can't remember. I don't think we should probably say the other 3 because we haven't quite decided. We haven't finalised as a team. There's 3 other criteria, of which, like I say, you need to meet 3 of the 5. So it's not that you have to meet all 5 to get the bonus. You just need to meet 3 of the 5. And we're trying to make it flexible, that it doesn't restrict you too much, but at the same time, we're trying to make it restrictive enough that it encourages you to build a meta-breaking list, something different, okay? And again, this is the important point. The Metabreaker Award, there is going to be a Metabreakers Gold, Silver, Bronze. Now, if you want to come along to this tournament, and you just want to come along with your meta list, you've got 2,000 points, you don't have time to build another unit, you don't want to exclude any of your units because you really like how that's playing, that's fine. There is also simultaneously within this competition a generals competition running, which is based on win, loss, draw. Yeah, now all of these impact each other, but you can get a gold generals prize basically. Yeah, you can come with that meta list. You can go 5-0, and if you go 5-0, there's a damn good chance 5-0 and you know, a strong performance throughout the tournament. There's a good chance you're going to get gold in the generals. Simple as that. Yeah. Yeah. So there is.
That's your standard. So like your general score, the general prize will only be based on your gaming score. Nothing else influences it. That is your standard competitive scoring mechanic.
And for all intents and purposes, it's what most people would consider the top prize in the tournament. And like I say, for us, it's still a top prize. You've come, you fought really hard, you showed the actions of the general. It is not easy to go 5-0. It's in any circumstances, it's not easy to go 5-0. You'll get that. But you won't be the Metabreakers champion. You'll be the Metabreakers general champion. You know, you'll be the general winner. Just as much as people who come along with beautiful armies and the only thing they're going for is the favourite army. And I've done that. I've shown up to doubles tournaments and singles tournaments, and I've said, you know, I've swapped units out and made my army terrible because I know that unit might help me get favourite army. It looks better. Simple as that. I mean, for heaven's sakes, I'm doing a whole bunch of big pigs. They're not going. We know they're not going to do well, but I'm doing it to go for favourite army or best army sort of thing. So favourite army votes from your opponents, favourite game votes from your opponents, just as you would in a soft score. They are influential, but for generals, they're not enough to drag you down into obscurity. Important to say. So they have an impact. We still encourage you to give your opponents a good game, but they won't drag you into obscurity at the levels that you know, some of the heavily balanced soft scored teams will be. And as Jack mentions, the general score is based primarily on the win, loss, draw, and differentiating factors. Broke to process 5-0, no mercy. Yeah, well, that's why you only need to come on the second day. You can do all 5 games then, can't you, Fabian?
Taking 20 minutes again.
Better try and dig out Mollog. I've just seen a comment.
No, Mollog's the greatest unit ever to grace Gloomspite hits.
Yeah, we've banned him. He's terrible.
No, you know what? I'm actually introducing a new rule. Mollog is a 3-cast wizard if you bring him.
Hashtag make Mollog great again. Yeah,
Mollog is a 3-cast wizard. There you go.
He should be a wizard.
He should be a wizard. He should be.
Anyway, best army is available, of course, and you know, that is done by the usual method on Sunday lunchtime. We'll put armies out, people can vote on them, etc., etc. We're giving best in Grand Alliance, 4 prizes across the 4 Grand Alliance, and then Wooden Spoon. And there's probably going to be some fun and nonsense along the way as well. Like I say, primarily this is a celebration of me getting to the stage I'm at, and a celebration of Age of Sigmar, and for us really trying something to put our to to put our you know ideas around what we mean by Metabreaker into action, and to say, you know, if there was going to be a tournament that kind of followed what we're trying to do, how would we put this together? Now, I'm going to revisit all of this, of course. I just want to revisit this point. So there are going to be these criteria which drive you down to a list build. Not everybody is going to be able to get, you know, meet 3 of those 5 criteria. And, you know, some of it, like, it might be as simple as, this is the army I've got, that's all I've got, I've only just got 2,000 points. And if you can't meet those criteria, you don't get the bonus, but you can still come along and go for the general score. You can still, you know, win handsomely on favourite game, favourite army, best army. And the reality is, we're creating like a balance level in the sheet that, you know, it doesn't get tipped one way or another. But it's also why we're kind of, you know, these boxes represent really what I'm talking about. There's almost like you know, multiple competitions running side by side, is the idea. And if you want to come along, openly say, I've got no bonus whatsoever for Metabreakers, but I'm here to go 5-0 like Bro to Pro would, then he would. I mean, the whole point of Fabian as a Metabreaker anyway, that, you know, the whole point, everybody says he takes those, you know, meta lists, but obviously he invents all the meta lists. That literally is the source of all of them. So at some point, Fabian's lists are Metabreakers. Yeah, well, obviously Luke copies them. That's a given. And, you know, well, you can always see what Fabian's doing because it's on the backpack being carried by Fabian. So there we're at. I mean, my intention was to make this like a half-hour show to introduce what we're doing in terms of the Metabreakers, introduce it in terms of timing. There's a whole bunch of work going off in the background. This is like, we want the tables to be beautiful. We've got 15 to 16 tables to fill. Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to Daz Maul from you know, the YouTuber, and also the chap who runs the tournament. He's, you know, he and his friends. I've forgotten the chap's name. I think it's Tom. I hope I've got that right. They're loaning us some tables with some beautiful terrain as well. But at the same time, we want this to look, you know, to look nice as well. So if you come to this tournament, there's a chance for you to play on the tables that we feature on our battle reports. This is a little progress chart we're working on at the moment of where we're at. So we've got a Haisha Stormbolt. There's an 8 points built on the Warcry starter set. There's an Shaish, sure that's spelled wrong, Gyron. There's a Gur Waste, which just needs some little bits of work to be done to it. And then there's 4 more tables being done. Hopefully in time for the tournament. But what we're trying to do is to build out those tables, have them as quite a beautiful experience. You know, something that will be enjoyable to play on. I think that's the table that we were talking about. This is the Wastelands table, which, you know, showed as yellow on the chart, and you can see why it showed as yellow on the chart. There's still some work to be done to get the details down on painting on that one. But just to give you an example of what the tables will look like. The tables will come with the, or at least certainly the top 8 tables will come defined with what their terrain is. That's the other thing that we're working on. So whether it's cover, impassable, defensible. So we're trying to take as much work away from, the players as possible, that they just come along and get on with their game, basically. So I think that's it. It's been challenging designing the tournament pack, and if anybody's got any ideas, then feel free of what those 5 criteria would be to encourage people to build a different list. Feel free to submit them. I am all ears, because I'll be open with you. As a team, we don't 100% agree on what those criteria will be. We think we've met a decent balance by saying, okay, there's more criteria than you need to reach the bonus.
But you don't need to do all the criteria to get the bonus, but you do need to do it.
Because I think if we only had 3 criteria and said you had to meet all the criteria to get the bonus, I think that would make it too difficult for people to do. But by having 5 and saying you need to meet 3, it automatically injects a little bit of flexibility for people to build across those different factions. So that's what we're trying to do. Like I say, any comments, any questions, any ideas, we are 100% open. I am polishing the pack off this week. I think the pack will be finalized Thursday night, and we'll be looking to launch everything up on BCP for people to sign up probably Sunday, I think. If you want to go and you want to try and just message me, then message me through Twitter or Facebook, and let me know, hey, I'm interested, because that would help me understand numbers as well. And what I can probably do is just give you advance access to register for your ticket. All the patrons have already done that, so I know who spaces we need to reserve there. And there's a couple of friends coming along as well, so I think that's it. We've got some stuff on the chat. Shall we have a quick look at it? Looking for the wooden spoon, says Martin. Fair enough. It's going to be a good one. Already have 2 units in my list that people poop on, says Coleman.
I think that by people, I think Coleman means himself.
Coleman, you are very down on your faction.
Yeah, bless him.
Come on, have some faith.
Have some faith in those stunty dwarves. They've got it.
No named characters was indeed one of the options we discussed.
We thought.
Believe it or not, not every faction has named characters.
Well, that was also the next issue.
Yeah. But it is possibly one of the criteria that we discussed. We've got a list and we're kind of going to narrow them down. But please keep submitting. Lesser taken sub-factions like Invaders and Godseekers for Slanesh, etc. Yeah, sub-factions is one of them we talked about. No sub-factions. And 5 out of 3 seems fair. Need to make an effort, but there's still some flexibility.
He's not bringing... Coleman, that's not even on. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
That's a shocker.
I've never seen Coleman do anything that's not dwarves.
What's he bringing?
I don't know.
It's going to be death. He's got 2 death armies, hasn't he?
Has he got death?
Yeah, he's a massive OBR fan.
Oh, he's probably bringing OBR then, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves OBR.
Yeah.
Right, okay then. We'll leave it at that. With the world thinking Coleman loves OBR, I think it's time for us to go. Variation on War Scrolls, minimum of 7 different ones. Yeah, I mean, I was watching Vince's show, and there was an event in the US, and they have the Highlander Award. Now, really, I think that's 9. No less than 9 War Scrolls, and you can only have 1 of each War Scroll.
Some army don't have 9 War Scrolls.
I mean, you'd be doomed if you were playing Iron Jaws. I don't know. Can you get to 9 with Iron Jaws now?
I don't think you can even do it with Fire Slayers because you don't have enough hero slots.
I mean, you could with Fire Slayers, but...
No, you don't have enough hero slots.
No, you could with Fire Slayers, but when you look at the army, you still couldn't tell it's not one.
It's all just one. It's all just a thing. I genuinely think people should get an extra 3 points if they bring Moloch. Like...
Coleman's going full Elven. Also, when if you bring nothing but flagellants.
Yeah. But you have to flagellate yourself during the game as well.
No, we're not having that kind of... This is a celebration, but it's not that kind of party. Right, okay. Like I say, for anybody interested, I know it's last minute and it's right before Christmas. It's primarily a party, and we're going to play some Age of Sigmar, okay? Lots of prizes, lots of fun. And we're trying our best to introduce this idea of this kind of Metabreaker tournament. I'd love for me to get past December and with some great news. And the first thing I'll start doing is planning Metabreakers 2024. And we'd aim for it to be a huge event and lots of fun. So that's what I want to do. And but right now, I think as we decided, we owe it to ourselves to celebrate and have a bit of a party for getting this far. So that's the plan. So anybody willing to join us and come along and maybe raise a little bit of money for cancer research as well, that will be most exciting. And we're just going to have a lot of fun along the way. Beer and pretzels, as Big Tom says. Right, we're going to call it a night. I'm going to call up the old credits because they're the wrong credits and I haven't had a chance to do new ones yet. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. That's my job tomorrow, folks. See you lots. Hope you had a good time tonight. I promise as Monday musings go on, they might get a bit longer. I have to control how much energy I put into any single activity. And right now, half an hour of this is probably enough. So good night all, and we'll speak soon. And thank you so much to everybody who joined us tonight. Yeah. See you soon, guys.
See ya.
Bye. Please, more comments, more ideas. Bye.